Hello, everybody. AOG Gaming here, back with another video on Outer Plane. So today we're gonna do battle mechanics. Just a beginner's guide to battle mechanics, how to use your characters, what AP cards do, all the gauge synergies and stuff. And we're also doing S-Class Threat Investigation Stage 2 for gear. So if I go back, we are in the special request ecology study. We still have to wait for all of our dailies to refresh. So right now we're just grinding materials, and we want to get the evasion, but that's probably not going to happen. Anyway, this is our team. Again, like everybody knows, Laplace, Rona, Valentine, and Siron. Um, yeah, we're going to go straight into it. Also, I realized characters emblem that is red is a 3-star. That's what that means. So you do get a 3-star from the Skyward Tower. Sigma is a 5-star because she actually has the red. And if you look, like if I go here, and I don't know, let's just take out one character, right? So well, we don't have to. So as you can see, um, Eva, who's this character right here, I'm not gonna click on her. The one with the blonde hair. She is blue. She has a blue border, but the one next to her, this girl, I forgot her name, Claire maybe. She has a green border. So now you know there's the, I guess, legendary, the rares, and then the commons. Because that's the best way to talk about it. But they don't have those rarities. They just call them 3-star, 2-star, 1-star unit. So yeah, that's just something to keep in mind. So that is a 3-star unit you get. Anyway, we're just gonna go back, and we're gonna enter. I haven't faced this before, so if I lose, I lose. But it's really just to show y'all mechanics. And if I lose, that might be pretty helpful for some of y'all. Okay. So the first round is going to be for these it's weird because usually they show you like right above the bar of the boss, or I guess if there is no boss, because this is a mini boss. This is not the final boss that we face. There's 2 rounds, so it's very different for some stuff, but most of the time you will see like the dots appear above the mini boss health bar, or if there's no mini boss then you just see that, and that indicates how many turns or how many waves you have to fight through. Sometimes it tells you, for some of them it doesn't. I don't know why. But again, it's a new game, so don't judge it too hard. So these are obviously your skills, as you guys can see. Sorry, as everybody can see. I have to stop using post 2010 language. So yeah, you have your skills. You can press and hold to see all of their abilities and stuff. Um, and I also talked about weakness gauge reduction. So if you look at the boss, the orange bar that's right below the health bar here, that is the weakness gauge. And basically, each of your attacks does a certain amount of weakness gauge reduction. Um, Usually it's 2, sometimes with the ultimate it's 3. That's all you need to know. What it does is it puts the boss in their break state. And when they are in their break state, you can deal a lot more damage because they have defense down, I believe. They get a debuff already. So having Laplace is just that much more amazing because she does more damage per debuff. Um, Next is, I guess, this is the turn bar. So you can see priority. That is what is the right next to the clock. Green bar is health, and the orange bar is for AP, I believe. Um, so I don't know why the enemies have it, but I'm assuming they can do AP stuff as well. But yeah, so as you can see, there's a little tick of orange on Valentine, and if we go down here below our skills, you can see that there's the same amount of orange tick, and that's for the AP. I don't know if it's for the ultimate, but we'll see because I don't think I've seen it filled up. But again, we'll check that out. Here you can view whatever character is, currently what their turn, whichever character's turn it is. You can view how much HP they have, what type of hero they are, whether that's a ranger, a striker, a defender, a mage, or a healer. And you can also see their element type, which is fire. Yeah, and then you can see the skills of the boss up here for cooldowns and stuff. Very good to pay attention to that. I just got to tell y'all. If there's a 1 turn cooldown, they will have it immediately as soon as they go. That's just something to keep in mind. And then yeah, you can see all of your stats and buffs here, and it's just a good overview of the game. And all you do is you click here. Like it really doesn't matter where you click. Um, yeah, and then you also have your chain points that are gained here. I talked about this a little bit, but yeah. And another thing I do have to mention, you don't really so we don't have AP cards right now, but I will mention that that's part of the chain skill. So this is just basics. Here, I'm not going to press it, but right next to the pause button, right above it is the auto button, and then right above that is how you want the auto combat to work. So this is also an auto combat button. You can use it whenever you want, which is awesome. But you can also turn it off whenever you want, which is also awesome. Here's the speed up button, which I'm going to click because I don't want to sit through all these slow ass animations. Um, and yeah, that's pretty much it. You got the pause as well, so you use the combat guide if you want, which is very helpful. I will say for beginners, this is super helpful because it lets you see everything basically. Talks about skill burst, skill chain. So skill burst is for the AP cards, and I'll talk about that in a second. But yeah, so there's elements and advantages, so I do have to talk about that a little bit. Attacking with disadvantage element will reduce damage by 20, and attacking with an advantageous element will increase damage by 20%. And you can see that's the chart. Fire is strong against earth, earth is strong against water, water is strong against fire. Light and dark are strong and weak against. Wait, wait. Oh, well, I guess they're not disadvantageous to each other since they're advantageous to each other, so they can't be disadvantageous. So they just deal 20% more attack to each other. Unless they also deal, but then that would just be neutral. Like if they had both the advantage and disadvantage. So I think it's just an advantage of damage because otherwise that makes no sense. Um, yeah, and we're going over combat stuff. We can go off after all of this stuff, but yeah, that's gonna take a while to talk about. Um, yeah, and then there's also defense. So you do have to keep this in mind. I'm just talking about a little bit more stuff about battle mechanics. So it's calculated your attack skill damage when the enemy is being attacked. It's calculated using the attacker's attack stat and target's defense stat. More defense you have, the less damage you take, even if they are advantageous. That's just how it works. Um, the target's slash attacker's elements, again, that comes in with the advantageous element or disadvantageous element. Accuracy and evasion, critical hit chance, and critical damage. So accuracy and evasion, the more accuracy you have, the less the evasion works. But if they have more evasion, then good luck hitting them. And that's all I can say. Critical hit chance obviously increases the crits that you do, or the chances you have for doing crit damage. And obviously, if you increase your crit damage, you're going to deal more damage when you deal crits. That's pretty much the most of it. There's defense penetration and final damage reduction stats. That comes with like upgrading your actual hero skills, getting gear, and getting their exclusive equipment. So that's something that y'all have to keep in mind. And then yeah, here it tells you exactly how that works. Miss attacks will not trigger a critical hit, and their final damage is reduced by an additional 75%. So they still deal damage, which kind of sucks because bosses can still kill you even if they miss. Kind of sucks. But it kind of balances the game for sure. Otherwise, it would be a little bit easy in my opinion. Uh, and debuffs on the attack skill will not be applied. So this is very important because if you don't miss, those debuffs do count. Which again, if you got like Laplace or another hero, even if they have like defense down, that's still gonna make your team deal more damage because they have less defense. Which again is very important. Yeah, and then they talk about it more. Combat stats is really just you use gear and oh, okay. So here's what I want to talk about, right? So we talked about everything that is basic speed, I mean, we know how defense, health, speed, critical hit chance, and critical damage work. Like, if you don't know how those work, I don't suggest you play this game because that's like just basicness. But there is evasion and effectiveness and resilience, which are three new things I have to talk about. Lifesteal doesn't really matter, and neither does heal with a hit because I mean those are pretty straightforward. You just heal when you hit; it doesn't exceed 10% of your health, and then you also steal based on damage, and it cannot exceed 10% of your health. So basically, you get a basically I say guaranteed 10% health increase. That's only if you deal enough damage. Yeah, so we go here to effectiveness and resilience because this is something I have to talk about. It is a new thing in this game. It's part of the things that makes this game interesting, fresh, and really fun to play. Effectiveness. When inflicting a debuff, the chances for the debuff to be successfully applied increases in proportion to effectiveness. Super cool. So now debuffs aren't based on accuracy. Accuracy is for dealing with evasion, which I love. This is 100% a way to put miss into the game. This slide did a horrible job of it. They basically just gave passive miss with element types advantage, and that's it. Like there's no gear that makes you basically unable to be hit in that game, which is kind of stupid. That's a missed opportunity. This game did not do that. And yeah, there's more stats. It's a little bit more complicated, but it makes it that much more intriguing and fun because it's not just put stuff on a character, blitz, call it a day. um, so yeah, something really cool. Now, resilience. When they hit with the debuff, the chance to resist the debuff increases in proportion to resilience. So effectiveness and resilience are the opposites. Accuracy and evasion are opposites. Speed is completely different than AP. They have like no. Well, I guess if you have more speed, more turns you take, which means your AP increases faster. But that's pretty much it. That's the only correlation to speed that it has. But it doesn't affect like your. I guess the more speed you have doesn't affect the more AP you get. It just depends on how many turns your character takes, and that depends on the team you're facing, a whole bunch of other stuff like, if, of course, your stats, how strong the enemy team is, your element types, blah blah blah, yada yada. That's going to be a lot more in depth. Now here comes priority gauge, and that's what I was talking about. So this down here is the priority gauge. Very interesting, very cool, and that is one of the ways that you can check um, what your priority is. And priority is based on speed. So that's why I say priority is basically like AP because it is. AP is different, but it's still it's very weird. They have speed, priority, and AP. So it's very cool. Like I'm intrigued. It's weird, but it's cool and interesting. Like it's something new and fresh, and I really love it. Um, but yeah, initial priority will be decided randomly with adjustments between -5% and 5% based on the character's speed. So you have more speed, you go first. That's pretty much what that means. Um, and then their priority increases in conjunction with their speed. So this is why I say it's the same as AP because in this light, as far as I know, they're one of the well, actually E7 was probably one of the first games to use AP, but this light just had a easier way of understanding it, in my opinion. Um, Actually, that's not true. I think E7 has it. No, because this light's pretty simple. Speed equals how much AP you get, and AP equals when you well, they're kind of the same. It's really weird how they did it. That game has a lot of issues. We're gonna stop talking about that game. But yeah, so the more speed you have, the more priority you get. That's pretty much it. And the character with the highest speed acts first. Usually that's your ranger. So you want to give your ranger items that are for like attacking the most amount of times because your ranger will usually always go first. They're usually the fastest characters. Because they support your team in one way or another. Valentine is probably one of the best support rangers. Most rangers are like damage dealing and support. So Valentine is just like that special. Well, she does do damage, but she has a lot of support. It's ridiculous. Skill burst is again with AP cards. We'll talk about this again, so I'll just like go through it real quick. Actually, yeah, no, this is important to talk about. So, action points, AP, you gain in battle to enhance certain skills. It's called skill burst. So usually it's on the second skill for heroes, but we'll go back real quick. And as you can, oh wait, no, I guess it doesn't show you until it's their turn. So some of them have it on their first skill. Usually it's the second skill. And this really is just like an extra effect. It basically helps the hero do better or have more well-rounded support or just like usefulness, which I love. Like that's amazing that they added that to the game. Okay, let's go back to combat guide. So yeah, very cool. Skill burst cannot be used when the skill is on cooldown. So again, you don't want to be using your burst skills unless it's a basic. So like Valentine is just disgusting. I'm sorry. I know it feels like I'm always talking about her, but she has a burst skill on her basic, which means it'll never be on cooldown. So as long as she got AP, she gonna be increasing your team's priority and oh no, I think that's it. Yeah, so she just increases your team's priority, but she deals so much damage. It's ridiculous. They all have a single skill that can be used via burst skill, so you don't want to use it immediately because I do say the burst cards are very useful, especially when it comes to rangers. Well, actually, just to all the heroes. So Rona on her second skill, she'll heal and increase her defense. So she increases the amount of heal and defense she gets, I believe, which is very good. One thing to mention about the burst skills is that they don't increase your AP as much as, sorry, your chain skill points, skill chain points. Sorry, doesn't increase it as much as the other cards. Usually, the burst skill is the first or second AP card, and then the other AP cards. No, I'm pretty sure it's always the first one. Yeah, the burst skill because it's always available for all heroes when you get them. So it's the first AP card you get for each hero. You can usually use the first and the second card straight out of the gate once you get the hero. Um, but the burst skill is very useful and you want to use it in specific situations. So I don't use Rona's second skill unless I need more damage specifically for bosses and I'm trying to defend against a counterattack. And usually when I have a little bit health missing so that I can, so it's useful because it increases the heal and defense that I get. Or it's a heal and damage, I believe, for Rona. For Siron, she increases your team's a or priority. That's just part of her burst. So it's she does a full team heal on her second skill. So if we go while we're talking, if we go to her second skill, I guess I have to hold it down. Yeah, and you can see they have the burst skill effect. They show you. But yeah, so she would normally just do 20% recovery of max health, but with the burst, she just gives 25 action points to all your allies. So useful, so good. Wait, does she just do that naturally? Am I being stupid here? She might increase it by 50 actually, so don't quote me on that. Because it does say it increases the amounts. So I'm a little confused. So let's just do this real quick. A lot of damage. Wow. Priority decrease is so broken. All right, so yeah, as you can see, burst skill here. And what it does is that increases the barrier strength and increases the amount of damage that she does. Laplace. So very good. I guess we can just go after the minions then, because okay. Before I move on, saw the +6 chain skill points, right? So actually, I have to talk more about battle mechanics. So that was pretty much like, I mean, I can show you the skill burst real quick. So action points, they can be gained by gaining a turn. So again, more turns you take. So usually your ranger will always gain skill points for your team. So you want your ranger to either be the same element as another hero, so they can gain you a lot of chain points very fast, or you want to have the gear on them that you get, the talisman that you get on chapter 2 or chapter 3. I'll show all of you that afterwards. But yeah, when unique stats are activated through special gear called talismans, which is what I'm talking about, you can gain chain points, and they give you this for free just for completing story, which is so good, especially on your ranger because they're going to be taking a turn every single time as long as they're the fastest unit, and they usually are. Something to keep in mind. Which is why I put it on Valentine because she's the one who attacks the most. Yeah, I could put it on another hero, but it's good to have it on Valentine because she's going to be attacking a lot and increasing my entire team's priority. So very good. Plus, it's based on crit, that talisman, and she has the highest crit on my team. Just base crit is ridiculous. And when she does her skill, I think my team has like, or she has 85% crit chance. So very good on her. That's all I have to say. Otherwise, it's just going to turn into a whole thing. All right, so here, through certain heroes' skills, this is very important when you're doing team building because it doesn't always have to be just element type synergy to gain more chain points. You see it before you start the battle. I've explained it in my other videos. If you have a team that's a full four team that's the same element, they will gain like I think 10 chain points. I think it's 6 for 2, 8 for 3 of the same element, and then for a full team of the same element, you get 10. But don't quote me on that because I have to go back and check. um, okay, so here we go. Through hero skills, which um, I don't have a hero that increases your chain points that way, so I will have to see. But very cool to know. That's actually very cool. So here, defender gains additional points by being hit. Striker gains additional points by attacking. Ranger gains additional points by gaining a turn. So every time I use um, Valentine's second skill into her third skill, she's gaining that extra for the first turn that she takes, and then an extra for the second turn because she gains an extra turn as part of her skill, which allows her to take another turn. And I think by gaining a turn, they mean by like the actual action. So I don't gain the extra chain points after I activate the ultimate. I only get it once I activate the second skill because that one specifically says that I gain another turn. I have to confirm that, but just keep that in mind. Mage adds action point recovery conditions to the skills being used. And then healer gains additional points when an ally is hit, which is probably one of the most busted things I've seen. Um, all right, here. Okay, yeah. So this is what I'm talking. Well, oh, I guess this is what the skill thing they're talking about. So when you do skill burst level 2 or 3, you gain extra chain points. This is what I was talking about for AP cards. I guess I don't have to do an actual battle. Kind of sucks, but it's just showing y'all how this works. Yeah, and then the effects of the lower levels will also be applied. So keep in mind that yes, you can use the ultimate, but otherwise you could use two of the basic. So that's just something to keep in mind. Um, this one is a K or whoever this hero is has a very bad first burst skill. But yeah, so you gain all of the other effects. And even if you have enough action points to select burst skill 3, you can still choose to activate only one or two depending on the strategy. So the more AP you have, so this is the part that I did not understand. You can actually use the third one, and this is why they fuse into one card. That's why that animation happened. I always thought that it was just the animation. I didn't think that it was like, oh, that's how the mechanics works. It's literally adding the effects of the other cards. So you usually want, if you're trying to like speed up your chain points, you want to be using those second and third AP cards. But if you're really looking for just um like the effectiveness, because look, really the ultimate just does damage and then does fire, like it has special effects. The ultimate and the base, the first AP card are probably the best ones. Burst level 1 and 3. Second ones are mostly mediocre, but they're still very helpful because if you use them you still get the basic, and they're the middle of the road. They're probably the most useful. Actually, no, that's not true. The basic ones are the most useful ones because you can kind of spam them. I would say for Valentine that's probably her best one because she can just increase your priority, and she gains enough AP to like spam it pretty consistently. So it depends on how your playstyle is, how like your team is doing against the boss. If you need a rush for that chain of points to basically, because again, the skill burst gains you the chain points, and once you can do the skill chain, um, it does a lot of damage. So you can basically get very close to reducing their weakness gauge by a lot. And actually, I think it's 12 or 14 weakness. Oh no, that's WP, right? Weakness points, maybe. No, I think it's that, because usually when I use it, they're almost automatically in break. Um, which again is what you want in order to kill the boss really quick. Yeah, and depending on their hero's base star level, an additional chain point generation effect may be applied to the burst level 2 or above. So I don't know how that works, but that's something to keep in mind. Skill chain, you spend chain points to use a skill chain. Um, Again, each hero has their own specifics. Like if you go to the heroes, so their fourth skills, which is their chain passives, most of them have dual attack effect, um, which is part of the AP thing. So let's just, I guess, go through a battle. So we'll kill you. That was probably the. I should have used it on the boss actually, because actually no, we did a lot. Okay, yeah, it doesn't matter. We're weak against that unit. Hopefully this will kill you. Chain points gained. Okay, now we're facing the boss. We're probably not going to do this full battle in this video, but it's just to show y'all some battle mechanics. Show everybody battle mechanics. So yeah, and so here is one thing I want to talk about. You look up here, there's this RG bar. So that's the enrage bar, or rage gauge, I guess you can call it, which is really cool. Um, wait, what is it called? Synonym or whatever it's homonym? No, there's a specific word, like two words that rhyme that are right next to each other. Rage gauge and then weakness gauge. So the boss has 21 points of weakness gauge. That's gonna take us 10 turns. So basically, a full rotation of our team, which is not cool, but it is what it is. Um, yeah, and then you can look at the health, but that doesn't really tell you much other than the bars that they have. So here, we go with AP, and you see the bar down here, it'll decrease. So first, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you, because I've already like, just go to my other videos and see me playing battles. I use this one a lot because you can spam it. But what I want to do is want to use the second one. Fuses that. So we're gonna increase my entire team's priority here, and we're gonna be able to deal extra damage. But look at our AP bar, right? So that's a dual attack. Again, um, most characters will have like the dual attack. So on my Valentine, there was a dual attack on her burst skill, and this is where these dual attacks come into. So you see dual attack effect. So for Rona, she damage increases proportional to her health. So the more health she has, the more damage she does. And it also reduces the weakness gauge by 1. So you can look up here. Oh, I guess it clicked away. But you can look at the skill description and actually see what those bonuses do. So there's a lot to keep in mind in the game, but it's really fun. It's honestly a game for people who don't have ADHD. Well, actually, no, because there's a lot of things to focus on, but also not focus on. So maybe it is what it is. So again, for Siron, increases health recovery and enhances action point recovery. So actually, I think it'll be more, right? So if I use it, because I'm pretty sure I was wrong about this, it's supposed to increase the amount. Oh, wait. Removes all debuffs from the target. I'm gonna upgrade this. Oh wait, it is level 2. Grant survival for what? Wait. Okay, I'm gonna upgrade that skill as soon as I can. Then okay, so we go on our team. And yeah, as you can see, the burst skills. So we're gaining a lot of chain points, and that's like the passive stuff I was talking about. So we go AP again. So she is 3-star. So this is where it comes. So you saw that we were gaining 2 chain points and then 7 chain points for the second and the third AP cards or burst levels. Now we're only gaining 1 or 5 because Laplas and Valentine are only 3-star. So yeah, something to keep in mind. So again, we'll use her second skill because we gain an extra chain point, and we'll attack the boss. Whatever. Um, I think this is it. I just wanted to show y'all the skills pretty much, and yeah, show everybody how this works. And as you can see, the weakness reduction is only based on the initial attack because she attacked multiple times, but it only decreased that initial. Just something to keep in mind. And then we use this. I'm just going to turn this down a little bit. You can turn off the silhouette, which is that weird like ghost form that is like them moving at super speed or something. It basically just looks like the Flash moving. So boss didn't really do much to us. That is perfectly fine. And again, like I say, I can just spam this card, which is why I love that that's her basic burst skill. But anyway, I think that's it for the video. Just wanted to show y'all mechanics, how they work. We'll go into like stats, which are a whole nother like section. We'll go into um like setup and things like that in other videos. But this is very fun, very cool, interesting, and again, all of you can check before you battle just by pressing the pause button and going to the combat guide. And it tells you everything you need to know about combat, which is very good. And then obviously they tell you here, yeah. And then when the weakness gauge reaches 0, they do that, blah blah blah. And yeah, you only get 4 turns of break because it's per hero you have. So usually you want setup so that you use your ultimates. Then again, it's hard, so I have to explain that in another video. But yeah, and then the weakness gauge is reset once the 4 turns are over from that weakness breakdown stage. And when they enrage, they gain weakness gauge back, and they increase their attack or damage taken reduction. So basically, if they do their enrage like twice, you're pretty much screwed. But if they do it once, you can still finesse it. But yeah, I had the problem where the boss used it twice, and basically they're impossible to beat after that. That's just something to keep in mind. And then yeah, the rage conditions are shown for each boss. And then usually when it falls below a certain health, and they will enrage only once or twice in a fight. And then turn-based rage is just all the time, which is probably one of the worst ones to face. But yeah, turn-based enrage sucks. Health-based enrage, you only get it once, which is very easy to deal with. But yeah, kind of sucks. Anyway, thank you everybody for watching AOG Gaming here. If you're enjoying the content, please like and subscribe. Really shows your support. Helps me out, keeps you up to date with my content. 127 subscribers this time I checked, so y'all are amazing. Keep going. Sorry for rushing. We're getting along in this video. But yeah, if you want more tips on Combat Guide, please comment down below. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have. All of it is in the Combat Guide. You just got to read it. That's literally what I just did for all of you. But I wanted to, show y'all how it works and explain it. Anyway, thank you everybody for watching as always, and I'll see y'all in the next video.